DreamHack winner, if I remember correctly. So goes back quite a ways, but I know both of these teams are extremely excited for it, and talked to Joystick as well as I talked to some of the SSG boys this morning. They are both extremely pumped for this matchup.
And it's interesting that you bring up DreamHack Winter, because I think that's where both of these teams really started to sort of rise up. Obviously, Empire and Spacestation to a certain degree kind of had inconsistent results when it came to Winter, but that was the start. They still showed us some really impressive stuff, and it showed us what we had to look forward to for the future. We're in the future now. The future has now become the present. We've seen both teams, of course, do well. Spacestation still a little bit wobbly, of course, when you look back at their results from things like USN and whatnot, but based on the first match, the best of 3 they played yesterday against Rogue, it seems like they've really cleaned that up coming into this event, and this is certainly going to be a test for 2 rising stars. Let's start things off by taking a look at the Spacestation Gaming roster. For the NA fans out there, you should certainly know this roster by heart, but I'll let Stokes introduce them for you guys one more time.
Well, the boys that pilot the rocket ship that is Spacestation Gaming, ladies and gentlemen, Thinking Nade, right there at the front. I assume we're going to be leading off with him. Yes, we will. Thinking Nade, the man best known for the fro. You guys see on top of his head right there. Chala going to be following it up, man best known for his rimmed glasses. As we have Redeemer coming up next, best known for the Echo play. Then Rampy, best known for his 22-kill game. Ended in a tie, sadly, on Villa, but Bosco following it up.
I think
absolute insane player in and of himself.
If we look at Bosco, if I remember correctly, from all of the matches that were played yesterday, Bosco, I think, was the highest rated player out of everyone at the event.
Yes, he was.
So he's coming into this one hot. He's going to be feeling good about his performance. They probably had one of the most one-sided matchups throughout the entire tournament yesterday. So we are looking to see if they're going to be able to pull something like that off against Team Empire. But obviously Team Empire may prove themselves to be a much bigger threat than what we might have seen from Rogue yesterday, who are having quite a few issues. That certainly was not the case for Team Empire, as we'll take a look at their roster now. The only representation for the CIS region here at the 6 Invitational. Leading the charge is Shepard, who we've seen show up really. That's the key takeaway here, is we'll take a look at Shockwave. Every single one of these players has been known to frag at any given point. Joystick is the main one, and we'll talk more about him in a moment as we go through the rest. Scyther being the 4th. And you can see, again, most of these guys coming throughout the CIS region. Karzeka being the last player on the roster there. But again, Joystick, a player who actually, from an overall gameplay perspective yesterday, didn't actually do that amazing. It was the small individual rounds, however, where he came out of absolutely nowhere and pulled off these 1vx scenarios. That's where his contribution comes into. He's a little bit inconsistent, especially if Ash ends up getting banned out, as oftentimes his target banned against him. But if he can get himself into a 1vx situation, you can count on him to clutch it out, and that's what he's useful for on this team.
I think that the main storyline for this entire match is going to be Karzeka and Joystick versus Rampy and Bosco. We're going to have to see who can be more effective, who can ride with their team to really help them out the most. Because again, yesterday, that was a big thing for Joystick, was it was very difficult for him to find ground initially, only coming up big in a handful of rounds. Which, I know it's a little bit much to ask, but in the past, the man has seen so many things happen to where he's just influenced an entire game multiple times over.
All right, guys. Well, that is going to be the teams for this matchup. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the map vetoes and the start of the game. As once again, it's going to be Spacestation Gaming taking on Team Empire for our second winners match to see who our second team to go through into the quarterfinal bracket will be. That's coming up right after this.
I don't know. It's weird to see Immortals playing like this. And we'll see if they can correct it. They are going to be bringing a Finka. It's quite interesting. Finka combined with a Ying, that's a lot of kind of X factors that you're going to have to deal with.
Well, the timer stopped, so I'm going to assume we're at a timeout. And I imagine INT would be the ones calling the TAC timeout.
Look at Rogue's faces. Remember when we started this and they had the giant smiles on their faces? They've gotten bigger. Rogue are in a good place. Yeah. Well, that's good to see from Rogue. Looks like we have some technical issues. It's not a tactical timeout. Looks like somebody's computer is not having good time. Seems to be Verticals. As
he emerges from underneath the desk.
Yeah, he's back, guys.
Groundwork of his own.
I was wondering where he went. Honestly, yeah. I was really confused. It's like, did they take him away from the desk? I don't know.
Your computer's gorked. You can't be here anymore. You need to leave.
Zooming with his mouse, it looks like maybe he's got some stutter. Maybe his refresh rate is off or something along those lines, but it's hard to tell. Obviously, all we know is technical issue, so they should have it fixed pretty soon here. One thing I will say is this is actually really good for Immortals, all things considered. Actually, it depends, right? Because if they stew and don't really, you know, start taking this time to focus up, then this is really bad for Immortals. But it depends on how they handle it.
Well, look at the demeanor. Half of them are just silent, looking down. And granted, it's only 2 rounds, but you don't want to get dejected that early.
It's true.
I've seen a lot of emotional series throughout these games, and it seems like the teams that, even when facing tough times, Norengo yesterday down 4-0, they're dancing, they're having fun, they're doing their own little disco party, and they were able to bring it back. I mean, I don't know. As much as Siege is a tactical game and a team game, it is a mental game as well. You have to remain sure of yourself.
Yeah. Confidence is key, and that is the truth. There's a lot of that actually going around at the higher level of Siege play. Some people will lose that confidence. And that's what really makes me happy to see Rogue playing the way that they're playing right now, because they seem to be very focused, very confident, and it's allowing them to put up 2 rounds early on. Look at them, they're still looking, man. Such a good place. Well, we're waiting on what's going on with Vert. Looks like his mouse maybe is the problem. Has he just unplugged it? And maybe he'll get a new mouse, or we'll figure out exactly what happened. Maybe it's the extension cable. Who knows? Who knows? Find out in due time. But we're trying to fix it. Maybe that's why Vertical missed that shot when it was Jaeger in first round.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was a pretty
easy shot.
A pretty easy shot, and I gotta imagine it might have been the mouse if he's having trouble with it.
It's also interesting that we see a rear stage and tower site come out from Rogue. And not that dining or kitchen is much better by any stretch of the imagination, but tower was also one of the least successful sites yesterday through the international play, at least. Yeah.
It is going to be tower when we actually get into the match. It's gotta go somewhere for your third site. Yeah. May as well be tower. Like I said, better than kitchen usually, and I think it's got a higher win rate as well.
Yeah, as a whole through like the first half of Season 9.
Yeah.
Kitchen is in the tank.
Yeah, because kitchen's not it's not easy. Tower, on the other hand, it's still not an easy site to defend, but here's the thing. Attackers usually get really stuck when attacking it. A lot of teams struggle attacking tower and don't really know what to do, and what'll happen is they'll linger outside tower and spend inordinate amount of times just waiting for free picks, and they don't come, and then the defense will win based on time alone. But looks like we have everything sorted out, so we'll get right back into the action. Rogue up 2-0 and looking strong.
Defuse as many bombs as they can.
The tower defense, the most crucial portion of this will be T3 control. How long will someone be able to last up there, and who will it be? Debating between Eclipse and Slash right now, based on the optics that have been chosen.
I want to say Eclipse.
Yeah.
Because usually you see the Jaeger go up there so he can Jaeger juggle in case he needs to.
Slash could be far side with the ACOG.
Maybe.
Tower repel.
Yeah. I mean, it could be both for all we know. Sometimes some teams invest 2 into T3.
Yep.
But there's another Finka Ying combo being brought here from Immortals.
10 seconds remaining.
They're really going for it on that operator selection.
5 seconds remaining.
Finka's going to be really useful here, period, because that's how Finka works. She is just a universally useful operator. Ying, not necessarily the same thing, but she can... I think Ying would be well used to... Oh, wow. Early pick for Slash, and that's from the bottom of tower. Oh, no. Is that a construction run out? Did he just get away with it? Oh, no.
He overhealed himself to do it, too.
Oh, that is just unfortunate. Well, it's going to refrag him, though. I think he was going for another peek. Yeah, he was. A little bit of greed there from Slash, but I'm sure his team doesn't mind since he got a kill.
And I mean, you take down the Jackal as well, so it's a very powerful rifle, high rate of fire. You take down the smoke.
Is he doing it?
Well, I think he's going for it.
Oh my.
Easily as the smoke, that's a decision, but Vertical will also take down Navis, so you've lost your Jackal, you've lost your Ash, a lot of your fragging power. You still have a lot of utility on the side of Immortals, but your straight up firepower and weaponry is gone.
He might be able to get away with this if he were to commit to it, but he's going to think better of it and decide to just play inside a tower. It's probably the right call, but you want to see him do it, though. I don't think... Wait, is there anybody on T3?
No, Eclipse was down by meeting. There is no one T3 right now.
We've got nobody... What?
There's a deployable and an ADS up there, but there's...
So one of the strategies you can use to hold T3 is put a smoke on T2 and throw your gas canisters up to the top, but it's very dangerous. And it also relies on smoke not getting picked off. That's got to be why Easily didn't go for the run out. Could see it now, but... Still, a dangerous way to hold this site for sure. Oh, is he gonna... I want to see him do it, man. I want to see him. I want to... But he's not gonna. He's actually gonna eat some damage from PX on Repel, and he will be finished off. Could you imagine if he had just vaulted out and got that double kill? Oh, well, it's done now. And Immortals have control of not only T3, but also T2.
Surprised that Easily exposed himself so hard, especially when the call-out should have come out earlier when Slash died, that they did have a Finka, and his Toxic Waves would have been that much more powerful against anyone overboosted. And there goes Bullet again with the LMG, 3 on the round for him, and another run out here from Eclipse and Vertical at the same time. Eclipse will garner the kill, low HP, and they've surrendered complete site control. T2, the plant, is being attempted now by PX directly on the bomb chassis. He got Bullet in T3 control, just waiting for anyone to come up. Another one for Bullet as he tacks on. It's up to Vertical now in a 1v2, trying to retreat back through meeting. The diffuser is down, time ticking away, explosions for more visibility. It's Vertical, not a lot of options here. It's the T3 peak, and Bullet will clean it up. Immortals will bring back around on the tower attack, and no coverage of T3 seemed to really be the culprit on that one for Rogue.
Their coverage was meant to be Easily, and that's why he didn't vault the window when he had the opportunity to. He was the linchpin of that round. He needed to stay alive in order to throw his gas canisters up to the top in T3 and deny the entrance from the attackers. But he died. So...
Yeah, it's usually pretty bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's it. That's all it was, though. Easily was supposed to hold both T2 and T3, and he died. After that, the defenders lost control of both. Immortals turned it into a round win. There's nothing else to really be said there. Rogue needed to invest more in the top of tower, period. In the story.
Shuttle 6 picking off a Dock to a Rook. The only feasible explanation I can think for that is the impacts.
Dock to a Rook?
Yeah. You don't want impacts on Slash.
I don't know, dude.
Who else has got them?
I guess if you need the impacts, but I don't think you really do. I mean, maybe. We'll see. We'll see what the Rook does. It doesn't really matter. Between Rook and Dock, I don't think it's the end of the world. They're both kind of equally useful, all things considered. I would say Dock is a little bit more practical, but if you think about how Rook works, he is always useful, no matter what. So if we're talking about like long-term, Rook always gets the job done, period. Unless one of your teammates is really lazy and doesn't pick up their armor. But that's unusual at this level. So it does happen though. So yeah, no, I don't know. I guess we've been seeing a lot of Rook, oddly, in this tournament. And I think it just comes down to the fact that yeah, he's always good. He's got impacts. He's got the MP5. Why not? Also, have you noticed how hard it is to headshot a Rook compared to a Dock?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just the elite skin on the Rook or if it's just Rook as a whole.
I think it's Rook as a whole because his silhouette is pretty much, well, it's monochromatic, and even on default skin. And whereas you've got with Doc, it's a little bit less so because he's got the white helmet and stuff like that. So it's easier to really notice. But I don't know. That's all just game theory. So we've got Immortals pushing their way towards the main lobby. Jackal's a great operator to have, and one that is often banned. But here, when he's not banned, he's going to allow you to hunt down those roamers with great efficiency.
Last time around, Immortals tried to attack this objective. They tried to go in for a tower clear through meeting, and it never resulted in anything beyond that, as it just turned into PX stuck alone on the roof in a 1v4. So Immortals here, they've also abandoned their Ying and Finka strategy. They only brought it for one round, possibly knowing that Rogue would be forced off to a tertiary site that would be unfavorable. But I kind of like the lineup for Immortals, especially because those aggressive operators would give you a kickstart. Those type of operators would give you initiative and incentive to push faster and make progressions quicker and give you ease through utility of making progressions through the map faster.
No one's ever used that word in a cast with me.
What? Progression? Tertiary? Incentive? I said a lot of big words there.
Kickstart.
Oh.
I can't believe you missed it.
There we go.
It took you a second. Reasley and the rest of Rogue in a great position right now, especially after Slash is going to take out Cyber. But Bullet with the refrag on a vertical, Slash going for a very aggressive play. This is actually in line with his character so far through this match. He always positions himself in the most trepidatious position possible. It's not a great thing to do regularly, but it has been working against Immortals. We'll see if he makes it work this time. No one's droning him. That's the really tricky thing is that since he's not being droned, he can get away with this. Clip's still playing downstairs on the pulse, and he's looking for a target in that cardiac sensor. Again, the droning from Immortals. Absolutely terrible. Buck from underneath is going to try and force Slash to move, and he will be successful. Slash goes down. Immortals have gained the man advantage, but it's right back to even as Eclipse eliminates Bullet. 3 versus 3, and what a vault from the Twitch and a double for Shuttle! Absolutely insane gunplay. He goes for the third and gets it. Rogue take the round off of Rook's gunplay.
What a great peek there from Shuttle. It was unfortunate because he looked into Generator, saw a shoulder, and looked away at the same time it crossed in front of him. Made the smarter play at the end of the day. Got 2 in a spray on a transfer and pulled out the pistol for the third. A beautiful play there from Shuttle. And you're right on the money. The droning, the information being acquired from Immortals, suspect, subpar, just not good enough. Just not good enough.
Bad.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bad. It's horrendous.
I don't know. I think the way that Immortals have been playing so far, dude, I remember this match that we had not, 20 minutes ago. Nip versus Reciprocity. Let me tell you about this match. In map 2 and map 3, suddenly, for no conceivable reason, Ninjas in Pajamas weren't there anymore. And right off the bat, we're seeing that with Immortals. This is not Immortals right here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, they're not here yet. They'll find their footing. They'll arrive. I'm sure of it. I'm confident. It's a best of 3.
Yeah.
But right this second, they are not present.
Well, it was the same story yesterday, ironically, for another Latin American team in Liquid. They did not start on time against Mocket, and it cost them a map. They weren't, they just looked like they weren't even awake on border on map number 1. They lost 7-2 to Mocket, and it set the tone, and they ended up losing the best of 3.
I want to say that maybe it's just the map. Maybe Immortals just don't like Oregon. The only problem is I have no frame of reference, because Immortals have banned Oregon 4 times throughout this season, and through the qualifiers potentially, and they have played it exactly 0. Which means that there's nothing really to say about Immortals on Oregon. Whereas with Rogue, they have banned it 5 times and lost it once. The only time they played it. So this is a really weird map to be going to for these teams.
For both of them.
For both of them, yeah. And right now, Rogue are making it work. One thing that really stands out to me, the way the Rogue is playing, they just don't care, man.
No.
You can see it. We saw it on their faces going into this match, and you could see it in their gameplay. Rogue just doesn't give a hoot. It's obvious, plain as day.
And that's a big difference compared to just yesterday against their game, or in their game against Spacestation. They looked very pent up, very serious, very worried.
Why do you think they lost so decisively?
They're getting in their own heads, and it seems like it wasn't even, because we've talked about this team over and over again, and how they're misstepping in Pro League right now, and how they have the potential to do so much better.
Yeah, Rogue's amazing.
It seems like it's a mentality thing.
And Shuttle in that last round showed us what Rogue is capable of. I mean, those flicks were insane. And that's what everyone on Rogue is capable of. They have that capacity. And it's awesome to see it happen. That was an amazing round from Shuttle, and it instilled, I'm sure, a lot of confidence into every single player on Rogue. So that's great to see. A nice setup here from Rogue in Meeting Hall, by the way. The Mute Jammers, the Yokai drones, trying to support Vertical, given the best chance he can at roaming up here.
You've also got that Yokai inside of Meeting, looking in towards Pantry now. There is a flank hold inside of Kitchen currently, holding off on the right side of that impact rotate. But you've got a 3-man stack downstairs with 2 Nitro Cells and Slash as Toxic Babes. That's a good amount of utility, especially if they try and use the Adrenal Surge on the Finka from Navi's to try and push in on a site execute.
He's entering here with nobody droning for him. Navi's, again, blind entry. He'll get hit by the Yokai drone. This is ill-advised for Immortals. Vertical's just going to play safe because look at the time. He doesn't need to make an aggressive play. All his team needs to do is wait. They have counterplant utility in abundance, and they only have 43 seconds.
They've elected to go for a complete ignoring of Vertical inside of Meeting, and this might just be their demise. A Claymore, though, Vertical,
How did he not?
Down.
Wow.
M King will clean up Vertical, and that's your Meeting hold taken care of now just by lazily allowing him to walk into a Claymore. But with 26 seconds, the Toxic Babe will start choking out everyone in Immortals as they all stack upon themselves on the main stairwell. Smoke grenades to come and disrupt the purview of all defenders. All that's left open is a peek from the hallway, and Navi's going to drop straight in with the LMG, unloaded a slash like another one peeking him, and Eclipse will fall. That's 3 for Navi's on the round, and Shuttle will trade 1 back onto M-King. The plant going down from PX at the depths of the laundry bin. Siren will shut down Shuttle. The Nitro Cell will not connect. It's all easily alone, circling around inside of Supply Room, and Navi's with another one. The LMG on the Finca for Immortals seems to be the difference maker for them, and you gotta wonder if Vertical had just looked down, how that push would have looked like with pressure on the backside.
The counterplant utility was there for Rogue. Immortals, though, had enough to disrupt. Navi's was the key player of that round, managing to win it almost single-handedly. I gotta be honest, putting in so much work as the Finca, not only buffing up his teammates, but also landing the shots that were necessary. That's what you gotta see in order to get the win. That's what Rogue have been doing so far. It's good to see Immortals answer back, finally. That's 2 for them, but their most decisive round just happening. We'll go to Laundry again, following Rogue's defeat in just the round prior. I think this is a good call. On Oregon, you see a lot more of repeats because there's only the 2 sites that are viable, really.
Yeah.
You need to get wins where you can. And if you're not able to defend the basement or the top floor, either of them really, regularly, then you're not going to have a good time on defensive Oregon, period. And you'd have to get really lucky to be able to bounce back. So, Rogue sticking to their guns. I think it's the right call. This is the last round, the first half, though. So, if you're a Rogue fan, I bet you certainly hope it is the right call. The roamers were...
New feet up.
10 seconds
That
left.
Claymore, man.
Yeah.
I wanted to skate around it by just generalizing roamers, but it was just
5
vertical on
seconds
the roam
left
as far as I
before
could tell inside a meeting hall.
Yep.
And wow, I cannot believe he didn't see that.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
It's
Attackers' objective
pretty
is to
standard
locate a
Claymore
bomb and
too,
defuse it.
especially off
Yeah.
the reinforcement tucked inside a pantry. That is your typical Claymore spot, and really it's supposed to be a sound cue when they shoot it to let you know there's a flank coming. It's not supposed to kill someone.
It's like a barricade.
Yep.
Like just a regular door or window barricade, like the one Cyber just vaulted through. It's a sound cue, man.
Yep.
It's a visual cue, or a visual impairment, and then a sound cue. Claymore's just a sound cue. And also, technically, I guess a visual impairment, and that makes them look in a certain direction. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. Surprised that he didn't see it. I guess he was the one visually impaired in that moment. Navi's going to be pushing his way into Garage, and this is a good amount of control because what you could do is isolate Classroom and main lobby, just by taking control of this one location. It's also going to cut off rotation from the laundry stairs just by opening up that wall, and that's going to deter any retakes of the laundry stairs from Rogue. Good play to have.
Well, they swapped the setup a little bit too. They've double reinforced the pantry wall this time instead of giving themselves the rotate. It'll be up to Immortals to see if they even want to push in and contest that and open it up, or again leave the Claymore front door this time in the middle of split. They've also added easily on a pulse this time instead of on a mute, and they've put him inside of meeting to join vertical. So there's a little more pushing power to bust out of split when that side XU comes out from Immortals.
Adrenaline surge incoming.
It's taking a while. Half the round already transpired. There was no real west clear from Immortals. They kind of just assumed that it was empty.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? And that's not a great thing to do, but they got away with it because it was empty. So at least there's that. Rogue are just waiting. This is going to be much like the last round where it's going to come down to the counterplant utility and who's fragging out aside from that. The drop down finally being opened up and the rotation is cut off in meeting hall, but there are players in tower and attic for the defense.
You see those silhouettes up top inside of attic, and it looked like T2 looking to windows, maybe shoot over towards the top of the armory stairs, but
Yeah.
PX isn't in range of any bullets that would land in.
Could be 2-3 even.
True.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the 6 Invitational. We are showcasing our winners matches from day 1 here at day number 2 on the main stream, while over on the Bravo stream, we are showing off the losers matches, one of which is going on right now. But here on the main stream, we have Spacestation Gaming going up against Team Empire. Another slot in the playoffs for this weekend is up for grabs in this best of 3, but only one team can take it. And these are 2 rising stars. Only one can continue to move upwards, however. The other one will have to have a bit bit of a stall as they'll have to go down to the lower bracket as the loser of this matchup.
I don't think that's fair because one of them has a spaceship. It's just, I'm just saying.
You know, it's not fair.
It is not fair. It isn't.
The fact that they have a space name ruined my metaphor. Ruin it. But as you can see, we have two of the top players. Scyther actually being highlighted here for Team Empire. As we saw once again, Joystick is definitely the most known player, I would say, from Team Empire, the most talked about, but not necessarily the heaviest and most consistent fragger on the team. We're seeing other players, most notably Scyther, I think, having the highest stats there, a 1.23 rating, with Bosco just barely lagging behind in the rating department at 1.22. However, had a plus 60 KD and a plus 9 entry rating over the course of yesterday, not to mention 8 clutches in that matchup.
Yeah, absolute insanity. And actually, I believe that these stats are actually from the regular season.
Correct.
So, yeah, they are indeed from the regular season. But the one thing is, Scyther isn't even a frag main. He plays Habana and Maestro. That is just the power of a very good support player. So, Scyther, rounding things out, he is the top rating for Empire, ladies and gentlemen. And Bosco, I believe, is the same for his team.
Yep, and he is currently Bosco. We talked about this when we came back before as well. We're just going to bring it up again as it's been 20 minutes or so. But we do want to highlight that Bosco is currently the highest rated player at this event from day one. So he's gone on a heater. Granted, they had a pretty one-sided matchup against Rogue yesterday, but if you can keep that up, you still might be able to keep that king of the stats. I guess you'd call that a stat itself. King of the stat to keep him in a leading position so far throughout Invitational. Yeah. Got to come up with a better name for that. But let's take a look at the bans and picks now. We'll get the maps up on screen and see where exactly these two teams want to take this series.
All right, well, we're going to have Bank banned out by SSG first. Honestly, not a big surprise there. And Villa banned out by Team Empire. Another map that Empire really doesn't have too much experience on. As we'll be rounding out to see what they're going to pick. Coastline will be opted for first by Team Empire. And SSG will have next pick, and it will be Oregon.
Is going to make sense. I mean, looking at their record overall, again, not many losses over at any map, really, when you take a look at Team Empire, but Coastline is one of the ones we've seen them play pretty much more aggressively. SSG, also known to love Oregon, but that is a bit dangerous, again, just due to the very neutral nature of Oregon, that they go for that as their pick instead of leaving it as the decider. The decider, by the way, with the last bans coming in, is going to end up being Clubhouse once again, the same as our previous series. We'll have a very epic clash on Clubhouse if we do need to go to that third map, which I would personally say is a high likelihood. These two teams, I would put them on a very even level right now. The thing you have to remember as well is that Team Empire has gone on an absolute streak in their online games, and so far, here at Invitational, they're undefeated as well, whereas Spacestation has been a little bit more inconsistent over the past months. Both teams, though, have just as much promise for where they could go in the future.
Well, I think it's been said all day with every single game that's been casted on the B stream, as well as our stream over here, the A stream. This is going to be a barn burner, ladies and gentlemen. Here is our first map stats for Coastline, as you guys can see at the bottom of your screen right here. SSG over by this hand. I still suck at this, but SSG over by this hand. 4 bans on this map, 2, 2, and 2 right across the board. Whereas you can see why Team Empire wanted this map. 6 bans, but 5 wins, 0 draws, 0 losses. Empire knows how to play Coastline.
And it's actually one of their lesser banned maps as well. Normally we'd be looking at Bank and Villa as the two maps that they like to take out the most. That's more of a middle of the pack banned map for them. But still though, going to be feeling comfortable on it since they have a positive record on it, as they do with basically every single map in the pool currently. They've only got draws besides wins, so they are definitely looking strong on any avenue.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the key to victory, at least for today, is just due to the APAC dance, the Norangu dance, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen it so many times so far by a myriad of different teams, and it seems to be every single time that team starts it up, they win. Fnatic did it the last time, Fnatic won. Norangu started it, Norangu won. Everyone's just winning when you start the Norangu dances. So, or Norangu, excuse me.
All right, guys, well, we're getting into it now. We've got the bans coming in on our first map of the series on Coastline between Spacestation and Team Empire. A slot in the playoffs is on the line, as well as a higher seeded position going into the quarterfinals, as this is the upper bracket exit point for the team that wins this matchup. Ash, the target ban coming out there from Spacestation, specifically meant to target Joystick and eliminate his potential in this matchup.
Yeah, and here's the one thing that no one really understands about this Ash ban. The main thing is that when you take it away from Joystick, it hurts him quite a bit. He's not nearly the player that he is when he has it. Rampy can basically do the exact same thing on any other 2/3-speed operator. So he's very proficient with his operator choices. Actually, most notably, his most proficient operator being Glass, and it's actually going to make it through ban phase.
On Coastline as well, which is a map where I feel like he can have a whole lot of utility uses, a lot of windows for him to play off of, in addition to the smokes in general that he's going to have for usefulness. So we should definitely expect to see him coming into the fold. Maybe not on the first round, but definitely something that they're going to try and sneak in if at all possible. Pix will not show it coming in for the first round, as it's looking like guys on Empire that'll start off on defense. We'll go to Hookah and Billiards to start things off. 6-pick is going to be utilized by Karzeka to go over to the Bandit. I think Redeemer is deciding if he wants to use his currently, but we'll decide against it.
Had a conversation with Rampy back at our hotel here in Montreal. He said he really enjoyed being back on the role of Buck. He used to play Buck quite a bit when he was on Noble. Noble now Orgless, if you didn't know that. Rampy used to be on there when they initially got into Pro League and then got picked up by SSG. He really hadn't donned the mantle of Buck for quite a while. But finally, as rosters, well, excuse me, the roster move has went around SSG, at least with operators and so on and so forth for their roles, he has gotten to pick that back up. And so far, it's really shown how effective he can be.
So Hookah and Billiards will be the initial site to start things off here on the second floor, where Team Empire wants to take it first. You'll often see a large amount of the focus on this round being just outside the door where Scyther's at now. The attackers choose to take that route. Potential for them to push into the windows that's in the room behind Scyther, which would be over here in the Billiards room. Or another option open to Space Station. They can push from the complete other side of the building. Slowly clear things out from that direction too. A lot more options here on Coastline to approach the actual take of the building, which makes it sometimes a little bit, well, slightly more attacker favored than some of the other maps in the pool.
The main thing that they're going to be concerned for the defense here is Rampy on that Buck. He's going to be able to open up a lot of sight lines, able to hold down a lot of angles with that ACOG and the C8, as well as the verticality here. If he is able to get downstairs, this could lead to disaster. His Joystick is playing his most proficient operator on the defense, Jaeger.
Rampy going to continue to move in just a moment here. Meanwhile, Joystick, of course, running around on the Jaeger. Love seeing the going down there. And Joystick, and meanwhile, we'll get the first phone call thrown at him. There's already an attempt to hunt him down. Rampy can hear the noise down the hallway, and it does look like Joystick wants to play against it. He's being harassed by Redeemer's drone, and it works as a perfect distraction to allow Rampy to walk right up to the kill hall and take him out of the fight.
Looks like SSG has not missed a beat since yesterday against Rogue, looking like the exact same Space Station Gaming roster. It was absolutely electric during that Rogue match yesterday.
Just getting a drone into position to more so flank watch than anything else there on the top of the stairs will probably go unnoticed by anyone on Team Empire should they choose to take that route. I don't think there's much of a threat from that though, because I don't think they have too much outside sight presence on that side of the map on the first floor. Besides Joystick, who of course has already been handled. Besides that, it seems like they've got at least 3 players playing around the site, and probably all 4 in fact are near the site here, playing to the inside of it, waiting for that eventual push to come in from SSG.
Drone activated.
SSG will stack up bodies inside of luggage. Drone going to come out from Rampy. Yes, he does it all, folks. You don't always have to be just a fragger. You can definitely, pull out your own drones, and I feel like some people kind of miss that sometimes in their own games. But he is going to jump onto the drone, as Redeemer is actually playing Zofia. Haven't seen that too often. Redeemer usually is the Fragmite, a myriad of other support characters, but this time picking up Zofia with her lifeline as he puts that to good use onto the side, as he will impact yet another hole. Switch things over to concussions as he will begin the execute onto site.
Might have been specifically for this site, so I'll have to see if he sticks with this or carries over in a future round. They're definitely going for a very utility-focused attack right now, trying to move themselves in through Billiards. Obviously, just a few issues. They're still stuck in Aquarium. This is oftentimes where teams end up getting stuck on this map and are unable to complete their push. That is going to become a problem for SSG, as they're only got about 10 seconds left. Not only that, but the C4s haven't even used it. The first one misses, and look at this. Space Station pounce. 3 kills coming out of absolutely nowhere. 2 from Thinking Nade, 1 from Bosco. Scyther able to trade it, but now he's left alone in this situation. The diffuser now gone down. It's all on a Scyther to bring it back. Locked into a 1v4 scenario. He's got 2 players incredibly low, but 0 post-plan intel. He will be able to catch the Dokkaebi on the way back out. There's the first, but a long way to go. Sees the shots from behind him on the stairs, just outside of the big window there. Wraps back in. He's missed the player to his left, just inside of the hallway, but no, corrects it just in time.